Alright, so in this video, I just want to go over some of the matches for the upcoming group stage of the Six Invitational in 2025. And I want to just cover what I think are going to be some of the best matches from each day of the group stage because there's a lot of games each day, and I know there's a lot of people out there who can't really sit there all day and watch all the games, waiting for some of the good ones to come on. Um, So yeah, this video is definitely more directed towards those newer or returning Siege Esports viewers for sure as well, because I'm sure if you actively watch a lot of Siege Esports, you're kind of familiar already with what teams you want to watch and what teams you don't want to watch, and also like what matches are likely to be higher quality than others. But yeah, I'm just here to maybe help point people in the right direction if they're looking for good games to watch. So I'm going to pick 3 games from each play day, and let's keep in mind that all the times displayed here are in Eastern Standard Time, which is the local time in Boston. So all the group stage games start at around 10 a.m. Eastern Time, and these games will be running all day, every day for 5 days. And yeah, like I said earlier, if you're sitting there all the way through, it's going to be like a 10 to maybe potentially 14-hour long slog of games because this can run really long sometimes. So for February 3rd, our first day, the first match, in my opinion, that I really like here is G2 versus M80. Now, of course, this is M80 is probably one of the most teams I know little about here because they're basically coming into the event with a completely new identity. And then G2 are coming into the event at a really low point. Nobody really thinks they're going to do very well. And nobody really has a reason to think they're going to do very well because they haven't been playing very well. They've been playing good enough to be here, um, which is an accomplishment in itself. But throughout the year, the both majors they haven't done very well, and they didn't even make it to Esports World Cup. So, but I think both of these teams have a lot to prove, and I just think those will be a great match, especially with the new additions to M80 and a G2 looking to revitalize themselves. Okay, now for our second game of February 3rd, we'll look at SSG and Virtus Pro. These are just very different teams. SSG are a much more fast team, um, and VP are much more by the book. Um, Run the same strats for years. They're much slower, but they're both just very high quality teams that will always produce a banger match when they play each other. And now for our third match, we're going to look at Shopify Rebellion versus FaZe. And this is going to be Shopify's Rebellion's first ever official match in Siege. Not for the players, but the org. That's what I'm talking about when I say their first ever official match. It's the org's first ever official match in Siege, and then this is also a rematch from the quarterfinals of the Montreal Major, where FaZe did wipe the floor with Shopify. In Montreal, they were Sonics, of course, but FaZe did wipe the floor with them in Montreal. Um, but I do think these teams are still both very high quality, and I think and I am hoping that Shopify have improved since then, and it'll be a quality game because this game here too, in my opinion, is probably going to be the game that decides if one of these teams is getting out of this group in first or second place. I believe so. Yeah. All right. Now for February 4th. Now, definitely the first match to look at for me here is going to be Dark Zero BDS. Definitely just this is BDS's first match of the tournament. They don't play on day one of the group stage. So most people are expecting BDS to win, and including me. But I definitely think this could be an interesting game for Dark Zero because with the Kangaroo Kenny pickup, I think they will be much more improved because I think he's really good at getting the best he can out of his players. So I definitely think this would be a better Dark Zero than we saw in Montreal. All right, now for the second match on the 4th, we're looking at Unwanted and Liquid. Um, this is also another game where Unwanted do not have a play day on the first day, and I just want to see how the new players fit with the team. So, and this is for me. This is if Liquid can beat Unwanted, I definitely think they're gonna have a pretty good tournament because I think Unwanted is just a good baseline for Liquid to be able to beat, and they're a pretty good team even with losing Diffuser and Gunner. I still think Gav is really good and just as good as Gunner and Diffuser, and I think Adam could also play quite well because I've seen flashes before, but it would be his first ever Six Invitational. So, and he could have the land shakes, which is could be a little concerning. But I think this will be a good game. And now for the last match, again, this is another one of those games where I think it's going to be just a huge game for both these teams when deciding the final standing of this group. I also definitely think whoever wins this match as well will be contending for the first or second in Group B. So yeah, Secret and Shopify. I think they're both kind of on the same tier right now. They're both like around that like number 6 to number 8 rated team in the world. They're around that range, and both of them are looking to shoot higher, aim higher for that number 1 spot. That is currently held by W7M. So now for day 3 of the group stage, we have Liquid G2. I mean, this is just kind of a classic. They seem to play each other at every event basically, and it's always just a good match every single time. It's always close. Liquid usually wins this, except for in 2023 and early 2024, but it's not that anymore. The past 2 times Liquid have played G2, which was at both majors, Liquid have won both those games. So, yeah. Now for our second match, I want to look at, and now I wanted to do this one, but there's 2 that I think are higher quality than this. W7 MVP. It's a rematch from the Montreal Major quarterfinals, and both these teams are very strong, both contending for number 1 in the world. And I think this will just be another banger like it was in Montreal. And the last match I want to look at is Secret and Furia. And I think, in my opinion, this was the first opportunity that Furia have to prove themselves, because their first game they play against Cyclops, which they should be winning, and then they do not play on the 4th. So this is their first match against what I consider to be a much more challenging opponent. So yeah, if Furia can come out and win this game, I definitely think it's gonna be a promising start from Furia, and it's a good look for Furia. And if Secret can win this game, it's also a really good look for Secret too, because if Secret played this Furia roster last year, they would have never stood a chance. So, but I definitely think this Furia roster, at least from what we've last seen from them, which is a while ago now, so we really can't say we know who the players are on the team, but we don't know what they've been cooking up because they've had a lot of time off. So I definitely think this will be a really good match here. And both these teams, they both like similar maps as well. They both are teams that like maps like Chalet and Border, um, those more aggressive maps. But currently, Secret have been better at playing the meta than Furia. So we'll see if Furia is up to the task of running some shield operators more often. All right, now on to February 6th. Now, first match I want to look at, M80 Unwanted. Ex teammates on both teams, Gunner and Diffuser versus their old team. I just think this will just be a banger, um, just because of that reason alone. But and because all the players on these two teams, I think they're all friends too, and it'll just be a fun match, and a high quality one at that. Now for the next match I want to look at FaZe versus Secret, and again, we're pretty much picking one match from Group B, everyone here, because it's just such a stacked group. Again, it's just another one of those matches where it's just two high quality teams clashing against each other that are both trying to contend for that number one spot. And again, I'm gonna go with another match from Group B. Um, Two teams with very opposite play styles. Shopify, much slower, more methodical team, where Furia, much more aggressive, liked to take a lot of risks. So I think the clashing play styles will be really interesting to watch. And of course, they're both very two high caliber teams as well. And I also think this SSG W7M match will be quite good as well. But I said I wanted to do three only, so I'm gonna focus more on these three. But if you also have if you don't have time to watch these, but you can be there for this one, this is also, I think, going to be a pretty good game. So now for the last day of groups, February 7th. Here I'm definitely looking at Liquid M80. For me, this is going to be a rough one for me because I had a really hard time deciding between these two on my predictions of who would be number one and number two in the group. Ended up going with the more riskier option being M80. Liquid is definitely the more safer option for predictions, but as we all know, if you go with all the safe options, it never ends up that way. So I do like picking into the risky options sometimes. So, and I really want to believe that this M80 team can finally be decent. Um, because their last team only made like one top eight placement at a major and then got bounced, and then they kind of just fell off into midness. So this is for me a match where M80 need to prove themselves the most here against Liquid, and Liquid this match for them is just kind of to make a statement to start the day of the final day of group stage. So yeah. Now for the second game here, a lot of these games are kind of, they're just all right because a lot of them are like in my W7M versus APAC, Secret versus APAC, BDS versus so I think the two games that I want to look at most here are going to be G2 Unwanted, because I think these two teams are going to be like scrapping it out for to not be eliminated. One of these teams will I do think one of these teams will likely be either Unwanted G2 or Unwanted or Joel. One of those three teams I believe will be the ones facing elimination. So if it's one of these teams and they have to play each other for one to be eliminated and one to not be eliminated, I think it'll be a banger match. But I also just think these are two pretty good teams in general that'll give us a quality match. And the last match of the group stage, which in my opinion is probably going to be one of the best matches of the entire group stage. A rematch, but in a best of three, a rematch of the SI 2024 Grand Final. Furia versus FaZe. It's all the same players, same staff. Of course, different org for Furia. They were W7M when they last played in the final. But again, just like last year when FaZe were owning them when they were under W7M in the 2023-2024 season, regular season, just like this year, also same result. FaZe have beat Furia every single time they've played them, I believe, this year so far. So this is definitely a revenge match for FaZe, um, and a statement match for Furia, because if Furia can win a best of three against FaZe, they're definitely gonna go far in the tournament. So yeah, so these are my games that I think everyone should be paying the most attention to. Of course, there are going to be more banger games, of course, than these ones, and some of these could be super stinkers as well. I'm just selecting here what I think are going to be some of the best high quality of match uh, viewer wise, if you want. Because in my opinion, like definition of like quality match, of course, too, it's like it's good sieges played and the games are close. So, and I hate it when it's just boring when the team gets blown out, and it's even worse if when a team gets blown out and the team that gets blown out is playing poorly too. Um, so yeah, like I said, yeah, these are the matches that I think everyone should be directing their attention towards the most. But of course, there will be other matches um, that will be good as well. So yeah, if you stayed till the end, thanks for watching and have a good one. Yeah.